Okay, just gave the tanks a water change, so I'm about to feed the shrimp and feed the tanks, and just thought it'd be a nice quick easy video to show you how I do it. So the shrimp themselves, you can feed lots of things. You can feed them products like this. I don't even know what you'd call it. It's sort of like someone's made a paste and dried it out. Those are okay. They're not my favourite. You could feed them a pellet type of product. If I can get it out one-handed, something like that. I do not recommend these at all. The shrimp love them, don't get me wrong, but they'll break apart into a really sort of claggy particulate, and they just pollute your tank and make your substrate filthy in no time at all. So I do not recommend them. Those little paste type things, they've got a similar downside. They do the same sort of thing, but it's okay in like a feeding bowl, but these, they just get kicked out. Even with a feeding dish, it just goes everywhere. So I'm not a huge fan of either of these. Mostly I just keep these because I bought them, figured out I didn't like them, and I just keep it for feeding the grindleworm cultures at this point. You can feed them something like bug bites, which is it's only one step removed from being a powder food. I like bug bites. Bug bites is good. That's what it's like there. Nothing too wrong with that, as long as you don't shove too much of it in there at one time. But the best stuff to feed them, in my opinion, is leafy, planty things. They love spinach. They love mulberry leaves. Got a bag of frozen stinging nettles there. Dandelion flowers, things of that nature. It's basically just like whole foods for shrimp, you know, and it doesn't pollute the tank. If you decide it's been in there too long and they haven't had it, you can pull it out, but I never have to. These sorts of things are the way forward, I reckon. So I'll be feeding them to the shrimp. And then when I talk about feeding the tank, it's a separate thing. Basically, I just mean powder foods. So make yourself a little concoction up. I'll show you that in a sec. I'll just get them some dandelions and some stinging nettles blanching, and then I'll show you what I do with this. It's simple, because with the powder food, you want to mix it in a bit of tank water first, so it doesn't just clump up, and this way you want it to cover all the surface area in the tank as it settles. So the way to do that is to mix it up and then squirt it in with one of these. So real simple. If you've got more than one tank, it's a bit finicky if you've only got the one, just because it's teeny tiny measurements for everything. But I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks. So I've just slid the lid back on one, and I take out 5 loads of this, so that when I've got my mixture, I can just give them a full syringe each. I'll just shove it in there 5 times over. Alright, so you've got your little dish with 5 syringes of tank water in it, and there's a bunch of stuff that you could do in this. I've got here powdered fish flakes, just bung them in a coffee grinder, and you get a very fine particulate dust. I don't like doing that too often, but if you want to add a little bit of extra protein to your powder food, that's one to bung in there. Bacter AE, that is the gold standard that's going to help you develop all your biofilm for everything in the tank. That goes in every single one I make. Montmorillonite clay, if I'm pronouncing that right. It's just to give it a little bit more hardness and calcium and stuff like that to help with shell development. And then bee pollen. I put bee pollen in damn near everything. It takes a little while to dissolve it in there, but it's just a super food, man. I'm not even sure what it's good for, to be honest. I just know it's super duper and that they fucking love it. You could also add, if you wanted some frozen food in there, I often do some Daphnia, and that'll chuck a bit more protein around it. It's not really a powder, but it gets absolutely everywhere, so I'd still consider it feed in the tank. Bug bites, you can shove that in. Whenever I use bug bites, it's basically just if I'm too lazy to do anything, I'll just sling a pinch in every tank and I'll call it a day, that way around. So yeah, I've just bunged into that bee pollen. It'll get dissolving. I'll do Bacter AE. The amount that it tells you to use on the pot is redonkulously extreme. It says, for these sorts of tanks, every 2 or 3 days, a half a spoon per tank. That's not, but I thought they were telling you to shove in more than that. I just get, it don't really matter too much as long as you're not using like too much or doing it too often. I just use a full one of these scoops, because bear in mind this is being split over 5 tanks. So I'll just bung in one of that and it'll get distributed over that. So it's a fifth of the scoop for each tank. Whenever I can be bothered to do this, I try and do it maybe weekly. I don't have any kind of schedule. It's whenever I remember to, basically. I should probably do it a bit more, because I've got isopods in all of these tanks, and you can see they take little nibbles out of the plants and stuff, and that's how I know I haven't fed them enough when that happens. So they do want it a little bit more. And then the Montmorillonite as well. Oh, sorry, I'm doing it all one-handed. Hang on. Yeah, it comes with an itty-bitty spoon like that. I'll just give them 2 of them. 2 of them for the 5 tanks. Oh, one-handed. And then you put the lime and the coconut and you mix them all together. Basically, you give it a little stir. A very effective way of doing this to get it all in there. Again, it's much better with 2 hands. But just suck it all in the syringe, squirt it back out of the syringe, suck it all, and so on and so forth. This looks clumsy as fuck, but if I put the camera down, yeah, you get the gist anyway, you know what I mean. Alright, and I've thrown in a cube of frozen daffodil, just for shits and gigs as well, so just waiting for that to melt and for the remaining bee pollen to dissolve in there. You can see how yellow it's making it all go. And I'm just going to wait for these to blanch. I'm going to get these in there before I feed the tank as well. You don't have to feed the shrimp at the same time as you feed the tank. Obviously, the shrimp are going to enjoy all of this settling around the tank just as much as the babies and microfauna and all the isopods and things that this is for. But if you are doing it at the same time, then you might as well chuck this in first, because then this will sort of season it for them when it goes on the top. So yeah, just wait for these for a little bit. So we got the dandelions and stinging nettles first. All I do, pick them up, squeeze them as much as you can just to try and get the air out, and then plop them in there. Oh, the camera wasn't on it. There you go. If it floats, I mean, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me if it floats away in there. Eventually it will sink. But if it floats, you can blanch it for longer or squeeze it more. There's probably an air bubble trapped in there somewhere. Same for the stinging nettle. Give them a squeeze. Plop them in. There we go. Rinse and repeat for all of them. There you go, they're straight on it straight away. Obviously with stuff like this, vary the amount you put in there depending on what you got in the tank. I don't have so many shrimp in here, so, well, I've given them the same amount because I've got snails and things, but like over here, for example, it's a really fresh tank. It's actually the first time I'm feeding this one. It's got now about a handful of isopods in it. It's just going to be a sort of food farm for the cold tank eventually. So yeah, they're all in there as sunk. Let's get the powder food in. Just give it one last stir before you scoop up. I like to give it a stir between every, don't know what to call it other than a suck up. Between every suck up with a syringe. Suck them right up. And then just try and spray them as evenly as you can over the lot. With a filter on, that'll dissipate and it'll look cloudy. People might be thinking, oh my god, that looks like way too much you put in there, but mate, it's fine, you know. If you're that worried about it, do a water change afterwards. But bear in mind, everything I put in there is divided by 5. It's going across 5 tanks. I just want it nice and even covered. I've got a lot of stuff in here. Aside from the shrimp, there's the isopods, and they are fucking voracious. So I'm not worried about the amount. But obviously, your tanks will all be different. You'll have different stuff in there. There'll be different sizes. There'll be different amounts of plants. You just have to play around with it and figure things out until you get confident with doing it. So I'm just going to finish that for the rest of these. And then there you go. I'll put a little bit more in that one because I didn't want to put a whole syringe in that fresh tank there. So these guys got the most shrimp. They got the most extra out of it. Maybe give it a stir if you want. Remember, the point is you want it sort of homogeneously over every surface area in there, or as much as possible. And in a bit of time, that'll settle. And then absolutely everything in there, no matter how small it is, will manage to find something to eat. Regardless of its size or where it is, it'll find something. And there's a good mix of all nutrition in there, a good variety in it. And obviously you got the extra big things for the proper shrimp in there. But yeah, happy days. That's how I do it anyway. Play around with your own tanks, figure it out, make weird little recipes and concoctions out of bee pollen and enzyme powders and whatever the fuck else you can think of that might be good, and just don't be afraid to try stuff. If you take it too far, you can always do a water change. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just bear in mind, obviously, maybe you don't want all the extra small little microfauna like the copepods and things, and you might want to taper off on the powder food. I'm cool with them, because if it ever gets too much, I've got the little guppy squad that go in there and help sort of ease it off a little bit. And mostly I just want a heap of babies, and also anything too extra, like when I get loads of isopods, I cannot get enough of them. They all just go in here in the cold tank, and the pea puffers just make short work of everything. So I want as much life as I can in the tank, so I'm happy to do it like this. There you go, bye.